Welcome back to the Dynamic Decisions podcast, where we explore the strategies that drive successful decision-making in the world of business. Why? Because the best decisions come from great conversations. I'm your host, Teasha Cable, CEO of C Model Data, and today we have an awesome guest joining us. It's Juan. He is the VP of Strategy and Innovation at Zaga Labs. Juan brings a wealth of experience in strategic planning, product innovation, and he's here to share insights with us on navigating complexities in tech development and more. Juan, welcome to the show. It's fantastic to have you here. I'd love for you to share more about Zaga Labs and the innovative work that you are doing.
Thank you. Yeah, very happy to be here. So yeah, we're very excited. We're working on becoming your business internal venture studio. And so we take opportunities, ideas, and then we build them, we manage your portfolio, and then whatever works and gets launched, and whatever that doesn't work, then we just get rid of it.
Let's dive right in. I would love to know more with your extensive background in strategy and product innovation. What do you believe is the most critical element for organizations to do to be successful when they're enhancing product development today?
Great question. So I think there are various elements that come into place. One is, I guess, is really key to have a great team. Having a great team doesn't only involve having the technical team, the technical capacities. I guess it involves having the right people, and the right people that's going to help the product vision to be built and evolve. And that means just basically just hiring the people that can bring that vision and put it on the table. It can come from having a great engineer, but that great engineer can also do QA because they're good at it or they like it, or a great QA that can also make a couple of designs and can help maybe with some product strategy whilst, looking at product from a QA perspective. So that's one thing, having the right people, having a great team. I think leadership is also key to be able to launch products. Sometimes you get great leaders, really creative, really good in terms of visioning, but then they can also become showstoppers. So keeping a consistent strategy is a key challenge. Consistent product strategy that goes along the way until you launch your product and grow your product. So just be consistent and have a vision that you stick to and make it happen, right? Um, and then having leaders that can be consistent with their vision and, don't often become showstoppers or procrastinators. So that's one, two things. The other thing is experimentation. So the way I look at products is they're a big experimentation asset that will answer questions about your business. So the product is not really your business. The product is what gives you answers about your business. So how might you build a product that through data speaks to you, right? It speaks to you through data. It speaks to you through the performance, speaks to you through how the audience speaks to you through market fit, right? So if you look at building products through the lens of experimentation, you will build features because you need answers from those features. You will build a campaign because you need answers from that campaign. And not just because it's a cool feature, not just because the competition doesn't have it, or not just because the CEO asked for it. So looking at building products from an experimentation lens I think it's key for business success. If you find out that the product is not speaking to you from the data that an experimentation lens, then maybe your product is not giving you all the answers you need.
Okay, so products is not your business and products need to answer questions for you, right? So there's information you should be able to answer with your product. Okay, let's stay here for a little bit and I want you to dig in right there and kind of talk through it. Be decision forward as you think about it. These are people making decisions with this information, right? What does that look like? From your lens, what are some of the key decisions that one might be thinking of with that in mind?
Yeah. So when I say that the product is not your business, I mean, the product is your asset that will help your business grow and run and be successful. And it's also the experimentation asset that will give you the answers whether your business is going to be successful or not. And you might have more than one product, right? Most likely. So when it comes to decision making, if you start a product from scratch, you need to make decisions on whether the product will work from very early on. So you start by finding out whether your product is desirable, and you start building confidence along the way. So if you get some desirability evidence, then you start feeling confident about your product. You say, okay, this is good. People are having the problem that I believe they do. And they also would like something like this to solve this problem or to fulfill this need. You start getting confident, but you haven't spent so much money on it. So you make the decision to move forward. When you move forward, you start gauging on the feasibility of building this solution. It could be a product or service. And then you start building the confidence around feasibility and desirability. So maybe you build a POC, or maybe you build a prototype, or you start connecting different technologies and frameworks that, okay, I can build this and I have the people that can build this. That's very important. So you build up your confidence and you make the decision to move forward because there's evidence that the product is desirable and there's evidence that you are able to build it. And you should also when you are gauging on feasibility, you should also start looking at regulations. Are there any legal stumbling blocks that won't make your product feasible? So that evidence will give you decision-making data points that will be key for you to continue building your product and your business, right? Because if your business is fully tied to a product, then there's also business decisions that you will need to make there. So you are good on desirability, you are good on feasibility. Now, can this become a business? Can this be viable? Will people buy it? Will people pay money for this? And so maybe you launch an MVP, or you launch a campaign or a landing page that start getting maybe some waitlist users, or you get some your performance data that gives you some insights, right? Or some evidence about whether people will pay or not for this. Maybe you launch an MVP and you start getting traffic, right? And you start getting people buying your product, maybe, or they at least to start asking questions and showing some interest, some real interest. At this point, your confidence on your product and your business should be medium high, because you've been investing some money in it, and hopefully not a lot, but some money so that you can start getting these answers. And you have made the decision to get to the MVP launch point. And if you have evidence that people will pay for it, you have some market fit. It's feasible because it's already being built and you can run it as a business. You can operate it as a product. And it's desirable because you see people getting interest and people asking questions, people talking about it in social media, or people telling a friend, referring your product. Then I think you're ready to make this product, to make the decision with that evidence to make this product defensible, adaptable, and grow it. So 4 stages, key decision makings along the line of those 4 stages.
So I'm gonna go all the way back because I want to make sure that everyone who's listening got this. So I picked up some key things. So team, vision, experimentation, answers, and evidence. Those things, when it comes to building products, become your core pillars, right? So who's doing this? What vision do we have? Which goes to leadership, right? So leadership is a part of that. You broke all of them down and more. And then, of course, how do we experiment? And that experimentation is foundational and must be in every single part of every single thing you're doing. What answers are you looking for from this product that you're putting out in the world? And then what evidence are you going to assess to determine whether or not you're successful or not, or whether or not you're ready to move from one phase of production to the next? So that's some really, really good stuff. I want to shift a little bit here and talk a little bit about your decision making. Do you have any frameworks for making high stakes decisions when you don't have all of the information?
Well, I don't know if there's a framework, but I would like to make decisions with at least some evidence. If I don't have a lot of information, that's fine. There's a gut and an intuition part that gives you a lot of information because you have experience, because you've been there once or twice, or you've read lots of books. So that's a great deal of the information that you need to make a decision. But if there is no data, any type of data or evidence that give you any insight to make a decision, I wouldn't make a decision on my own. If it's a high stake decision, I would trust my team, because my team is there to help me, and I have this team because I trust in this team, right? So I wouldn't make this decision on my own. I would gather all my intuition, all the evidence from my intuition and my gut to drive the conversation, and I will get some insights from my experts and my team to make the decision if I don't have good evidence. If I do have good evidence, I may still ask around my team and my experts, because I'm not a big fan of making decisions on your own if they are high stakes. I think you might be wrong. You might not get all the insights and this rich knowledge from other people that are experts.
That's good. Let me ask you a question. I'm going to really shift a little bit here because I was just thinking about something. I'm often reading the Harvard Business Review, and they've got this 2025 set of things that we ought to be looking out for. And in one of them, it describes a problem, and I want you to think about this in your answer through the lens of product development, right? So it says the problem: virtually all organizations are plagued by addition sickness, the unnecessary rules, procedures, communication tools, and roles that seem to grow, stifling productivity and creativity. It says the root cause are people default to asking, what can I add here? Not what can I get rid of? Organizations reward leaders for additions, implementing new technology, launching initiatives, building bigger fiefdoms. And leaders often have a limited grasp of their own cone of friction, how their actions and decisions burden others. In your work, what does this look like from like a problem space? How does this show up when one, even for companies who are building products and come to you, how does this show up?
So it's a great scenario. One is culture. If there's I'm obviously a big fan of agile, and agile has been here for a long time. But it's the way you become agile and the way you do things. So not the methodology, right? But the mindset. What makes you agile? If there are tools, if there are people, if there are communication channels that are not making you agile, then maybe you shouldn't use them. And that's why you shouldn't do any methodology by the book or any framework back by the book, because everything should be adaptable to a product, project, client, team. And every team, as every human being, have different needs and have different goals and ways of do things. So one is keep an agile mindset on things that you actually need to be efficient and be effective in your work when you develop a product or build a product with the team. The other thing is going back to what we're talking about, experimentation, clear and consistent leadership. So if I really like this, because if leadership has a clear vision, they are clear on what answers they want to find out and they want to answer. If you don't have any questions, then maybe what's the point, right? Because you've sorted it out. You have covered it all. So, and those key questions will if you're consistent to that vision, those key questions will help you get to that vision. And only by answering those questions, you can know whether I need to add something or I need to remove it, right? If my answer, if getting to this answer means I need to connect to this system or this API or integrate with this other company, then okay, maybe we need to pursue this. But if my answer is not asking me to purchase a new tool or add a new web page to my website or a new button to my app, then I shouldn't do it. And so your leadership needs to drive that, needs to drive teams towards that answers. So that's what I would do. And that's what I try to do every day. And that's what I try to get our clients to do, is to is to follow their vision and just every time go back to, do we really need this? Is this giving you the answer? If we measure this and we get some data from here, are we solving the problem? If not, then we should don't do it, or maybe we should remove it.
So, what's hard about this when you're working with your clients? What becomes challenging about this type of decision making?
Yeah, I think two things. One is too many decision makers. So you need to ask too many people. The other thing is that, and that's a problem because when you need to ask too many people, every single person will have their own agenda. And every single person have, they have their own interest. And that's fine because they're trying to do their job and they're, pursuing as well their own career. But then that doesn't work towards product. So we need one decision maker that can support on a team and a leadership team, but one person needs to make a call. And the other one is, I guess budget and time constraint, right? It's always a thing of we need to move fast. And when you need to move fast, you tend to make decisions, with a I don't know if this is correct to say, but with a hot brain, with a hot head. Uh,
Do people actually consider budget and time constraints in their decision making, or do budget and time constraints just impact things and we find out about it later?
I think they always consider time and budget in their decision making. It's fully understandable if a company, if it's a startup that need to start getting results fast, or have money constraints that they're fully driven by money and time when they make decisions. If it's a big company that has budget and maybe that's not the problem, then that it still happens. Obviously, it still happens, but they're more likely to just wait and look at the vision and try to be driven by that.
Okay, let's go to my favorite part of this, which is to assess your decision making style. So I have this little persona assessment. I'm going to ask 4 questions. And for each question, you're going to say, okay, I identify with that. I ask questions like that on a percentage of 0 to 100%. And you only get 100%, but you can answer any one of these 100%. Well, you're not going to answer the question. You're just going to say, identify. Okay. So here's your first question. When considering this new product strategy, how are we going to ensure that it aligns with our client needs and enhances their experience?
The client experience.
So how often is that the way that you would ask the question? Is that how you would ask the question? What percentage? 0 to 100%?
So if we need to get to 100, I would say 30%. And if I may add to it, the only reason I go 30% is because I don't know if we want to fulfill the client's need or the audience or our client's need. So maybe I would shift the question a bit to make it higher than 30%.
Okay. So for now, based on how it is, that's called a feeler, and you're at about 30% feeler. Okay. Let's go to the next one. We're reflecting on last year's product innovations. What specific trends or insights have we uncovered that can significantly influence our next strategy?
Yeah, I would say 50%.
Okay, 50. All right. That's 50%. Let's go to our next one. So that's called a planner. Okay. So you are at this time 30% feeler, 50% planner. Here's our next one. We're evaluating previous product launches. What lessons have we learned that have fundamentally changed our decision making?
Yeah, I would add another. I'm just thinking about the 100.
Yes, that's it, because you only get 100, right?
Yeah, that's hard. Okay, yeah, I guess 20%,
Okay.
and then we get to 100.
Okay. You ready for your next one?
Yeah,
Okay, because you're at,
past 100.
yes, you're past 100 right now, so you're gonna have to cut something back. But let's get this last one in, and then you can decide. So we're formulating a new product strategy. What specific data points are we going to rely on to validate our decisions?
And I do 200%.
You could say you're all there and zero on everything else. Like that is a possibility, but I don't break up.
You don't? Okay.
I don't. But
So can I do 50 here on this last one and then try to split the other three on the other 50%?
you can't. Yeah. So let me tell you that this last one is called a data driver. So right now, you originally said your feeler was 30%, your planner was 50%, your counter was 20% because you're well over, and then your data driver is 50%. So you're wanting to take away from your feeler and your counter is what I'm assuming, and your planner. You have to take some from each one.
I would like to take some percentage off of the planner, maybe 20% and 10% off the feeler. I guess another I lost count, but how much am I still over?
So this is what I got for you. Let's go feeler 20%, planner 20%, counter is 10%, data driver 50%. That's your decision making style based on those personas. It's all fun and games. There's
Yeah,
nothing,
yeah.
but it is good to know. The idea is to be balanced, right? In your decision making. The idea is to have the most balance that you can have. And so you've got a pretty good start here. And it's really good. Share it with your team. Tell them, hey, listen, when you bring me something, bring me a lot of data because I'm a data driver around here. Okay.
I will be comfortable with that.
As we wrap up and get to the very end here, one thing I'd like to do is ask you if you could give one piece of advice to leaders in your industry, right? And I want to know, what would that be? And I want you to think about the time that we're in today, all the changes going on, the current landscape. What's your one piece of advice?
Yeah, and I think I mentioned it before, and is to have a dream, have a vision, and stay consistent to that vision until the data tells you otherwise. So lots of experimentation, because as you mentioned, these times are very volatile, they're very turbulent, and things change a lot. People's needs, desires, consumption dynamics, they change a lot. So yeah, I think have a vision, stay consistent, experiment a lot, validate that vision. If it starts pivoting, that's great, and be happy with pivoting and then keep on experimenting.
This is great advice. Thank you so much for being insightful. It's been a pleasure, Juan, having you on the show. Your expertise navigating strategy and innovation has been awesome. So, can you tell our listeners right now where they can learn more about you and Zaga Labs?
Yeah, so well, my name is Juan Valderrama. I work for Zaga Labs, and you can find us on zaga.dev. That's our website. And you can also find me on LinkedIn, and I'll be happy to answer questions and get to talk to people if they're interested.
And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. Remember, the best decisions come from great conversations. If you've enjoyed this episode, we'd love for you to subscribe, rate it, share it with your network. Let's keep the conversations going on social media. Hashtag Dynamic Decisions Podcast. And until next time, keep questioning, keep growing, and keep leading with purpose.